Today we have a very special guest, UFC prodigy Kody Steele. I'm so happy you're doing this with us. Again, I just started MMA training. It's been about 3 weeks, and he's probably my biggest inspiration right now in my MMA training. He's he came from the jiu-jitsu background also, and he worked his way into the UFC. So I really look up to Kody, and I don't know, I'm just a huge fan of him. So thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate that. And thanks for having me.
Kody, you didn't tell me when you throw a punch, it's only these three knuckles. I'm finally throwing punches better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
it's one of
here.
those things like flicks, like boop, boop.
Yeah. You want to like
Vince just
curl
showed
it
me how
in?
to do it today. I'm finally throwing punches better.
Feels good, huh?
Dude, I never threw a punch before in my life until today. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is a whole different feeling.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, bro, I feel like I still like yesterday I was doing a boxing session and I learned like a new detail and I was like, wow, that's great. That's great. I needed that. And
But
it
it's
was
like the first time I
just
ever
off
threw
the
a punch
cuff.
was today.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just use these three knuckles. It's none of this. And it's just like, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
like
you almost want
slides.
to
It's not like,
you want to aim with this one, but like when I'm throwing it, I'm like aiming boom like that.
uh,
Yeah.
dude, today was the first day I was like, I could actually knock someone out. Like the second I learned how to throw a punch. Before that, I was just like, okay, this is just bluff for us to hug the person. But now I could actually feel like I could like punch somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so weird. All right, Cody, tell me about. So I'm 3 weeks into MMA training, almost a month in. I want to hear about your trajectory, how you started MMA training, your progress from the beginning to now being a high level UFC fighter. Like, how did that path? What was that like for you? Like, I want this podcast for people that aspire to switch to MMA, like I'm doing right now. Like I said in the beginning, that you're a big inspiration to me. I want to like talk about how your path was to doing this and when was your progression. I know Caleb told me that you would do Muay Thai tournaments during the weekend, like for fun, like during that time. So what was it like?
Yeah, it was I felt like it was a little slow kind of process for me sometimes because I felt like when I was training, I was getting good training, but not a lot of one-on-one training. So a lot of it was like me studying a lot of stuff online and like watching a lot of like BJJ fanatic striking DVDs and then like watching a lot of YouTube and then just kind of punching on the bag. And then also I had a couple roommates and they would just hold pads for me, but they like weren't that good at holding pads. So it was kind of like, it was like a hard thing. And like, cause everyone always talks about like, you got to have your footwork, like your footwork is very important. But like, I had nobody teaching me footwork. So like, I was like, I'm just going to try to keep the basics as good as I can. And then eventually I'll get to a place where someone will actually be able to teach me. Um, but I think what was like something that was cool was like I would travel all over the place. Like I went to like Thailand and then I went to this other gym in like Germany. And then that's when I ended up getting kind of linked up with like Ryan Hall and stuff. And like I learned like a lot of cool stuff from a lot of different people. And then I think once I moved to Vegas, I really got to like hone in on like my striking and like actually take striking classes and like take a boxing session and like that helped a lot for me, like a lot, honestly.
Now, when I met you in Singapore in like 2023, how deep were you into MMA training then?
I think I was shoot, I'd have to look at the dates of it. I think I was already in pro, but I was like not.
Robocop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was with Salt.
You were there being his jiu-jitsu coach.
Yeah, yeah. That's
That's why when
crazy.
you said Thailand, I'm like, oh, was that like a part of that time, like that, like the beginning of your like MMA time?
That was a little because that was like I went to Thailand and then I went to Germany where Robocop
Mhm.
was, and that's kind of where I met him. And then I trained there. I was totally supposed to be there for like a couple like weeks, like 3 weeks. I ended up staying there the whole summer, and I stayed there for
Holy
like
cow!
two almost 3 months. And I stayed up in the gym. I stayed upstairs above the gym, and there was like
Wow.
it was like me and like eight other dudes staying in a 3 bedroom apartment, and like it was like there were like bunk beds, and then we would just train, grind, go upstairs, sleep, go back down, train, grind. And it was I learned a lot in that period, but that's where I met Robocop. And then after that, we linked up in Singapore, and then that's when you saw me.
And yeah, like yeah, so I think what's really cool is that you did travel all over, like you were just obsessed with getting your knowledge, right, for MMA, so you just kept going to different places to find as much knowledge as you can, right?
Yeah, because I think what's really cool is like, which we didn't really have like back in like the like gi days, like we didn't have instructionals and stuff like that. Like we just
Yeah.
had magazines, and like we had to like learn from other people. But what I saw people do is like I remember when instructionals started coming out, I started rolling with people who were like 2, 3 years into jujitsu, and like they were just super good at like leg locks or something. Whatever they studied, they were really good at it. I was like, wow, people can get good really fast. So like, I would study instructionals, but then I really like going places and like meeting people, and then like also like learning from them face to face, because like when you
Yeah.
go somewhere new, somebody like they want to like really teach you. They want to show you all the things. They put a lot of time into you. So like you get that type of treatment when you travel and learn from people. So I really like
Yeah,
that.
I think what I love about like your trajectory is that you are obsessed with learning, and like you have a passion for learning. And I think that when you have a passion for learning, like the sky is the limit, right? I was very similar with jiu-jitsu. I would travel everywhere. I would try to find anything I can to learn. And I feel like that learning mindset is what grows us the most, and then now even at here in Syndicate, where we both train now under John Wood, everyone tells me Cody's always on the side wanting to do more drilling and studying. Like, so you still are that obsessive person, just trying to learn as much as you can, trying to study. But I think that that's what differentiates you, like your obsession and how much you're passionate about this.
Yeah. I feel like, bro, it's like it's almost like a secret weapon. Like, like I might not even it might not be something I use, but like I always want to like when like and being in Vegas, it's like there's so many people that come here and like pass through. So like when someone comes in town, like they're like, oh, I want to trade. I'm like, heck yeah, let's trade. And then like whether it's like a jujitsu guy or a striking guy, I'll just try to like spend time with them and pick their brain, and like I'll just kind of move with them, and then they just start showing me all these like awesome things, and I'm like, dang, this is awesome. And then I'll just like add it to my game, or sometimes I'll be like, okay, like not for me, but like I still like to like just know that that's there. But there are some people that like have a more similar style to me, and when I meet with those type of people and I learn from them, it's just like one after another, like something's clicking. Like every time they show me something, like, wow, that's awesome. Wow, that's cool. Oh my God, that's a great detail. So I love it.
And I think that what's so cool about MMA is it's three disciplines. It's more than three, but it's basically three disciplines, like wrestling, striking, jiu-jitsu. So you're just constantly stimulated with learning new things. That's what I'm feeling now. Like jiu-jitsu is fun, but like it is one thing, right? So but when we have three things that we could obsess and learn about, like you get unlimited dopamine at all times, like with obsessing and learning. So I'm addicted because of that, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. And like jujitsu is like always evolving. So it's like I know a lot of, for sure stuff, I'll but then jujitsu always comes up with a new thing, and they're like, all right, the new meta is like this reverse Aoki lock, and then everyone's doing it and stuff. So I'm like, when stuff goes like that, then I like to jump in and be like, all right, what's this about? What is this? Is it good? I grab all the best details I can, work on it and add to it, and then like it'll
But you're
start.
like a pioneer because you're so high level in jiu-jitsu, like you're like top in jiu-jitsu, but you also are like constantly taking things that are like from the top people in jiu-jitsu that none of the MMA guys even know, and then you're converting it to MMA. So you're like, can I do this in MMA? Can I do this? So you're kind of like a scientist on the side, constantly doing that. So I find it so fascinating that you're in this kind of you're trying to take and extract things from different disciplines and bring them in, and it's unique. Like you're not just copying the trends that people are doing. So I find that super unique.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's like I feel like I understand MMA now, which MMA to me is a little it's pretty simple, but it can be very complex, you know. But the game itself is kind of simple, especially like when it comes to the ground and things like that. Um, but like what I like to do is like, you know, like when I'm training with like Andrew or William or like you know, like I'm like, hey, what would you do with this? And like I can give like an MMA look, or I can know what an
Yeah.
MMA guy would do or how he would base out. And like, what would you do
Then you
about this?
convert it.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, I would be like this." I'm like, "Yeah, but like, what about your face? What if I think I can hit you here?" And they're like, "Oh," and then like, "I would do this," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice."
I remember when you were teaching me the inside heel hook from 50-50 that you did in your match, and I'm doing it, and you're instantly like, boom, boom, and like I'm like, oh shit, I could get hit here. So like, there's so many things like that in jiu-jitsu that we don't even think about. Oh, we could get punched, we could get hit here. So constantly, you have like that algorithm in your mind. I'm getting punched in the face right now if I do this. So I think that that's such an interesting puzzle. I think that's what's making it more fascinating for me also now. Like every time I'm training, even when I'm just doing regular jiu-jitsu rounds with people, I'm constantly thinking, where can I get hit? How can I jump into attack where I can get my head out of alignment immediately, like behind the person, you know? So definitely I'm enjoying learning this, you know, and it's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. The punches definitely do make it, you know, a lot more different actually. You know, like for instance, like in my last fight when I was like saying like the guy will punch and I'll grab his hand and I'll put my foot and I'll trap his foot. And then some people are like, yeah, but like he could get heel hooked. It's like, yeah, but you also are thinking about this, wow. And then you like, you know, so it's like the punches just really make it so much different, you know. It's crazy.
No, yeah, and that's what's so amazing about it to me, and like that's why I think I'm obsessed with it now. And I always keep telling Cody, I'm like, give me a few more months, then I'll be able to speak MMA language with you, and we could like come up with some crazy shit together. I just need a little more time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said the game is it's simple, but it's also complex, you know. But I think like one of the fastest things that helped me learn with, because when I first started like doing MMA, I was training with like no coach, so that was
Yeah.
tough. But like also like my training partners, like I was getting ready for my MMA fights back in the day. I would teach jujitsu class, and then I would like, all right, let's get ready to roll. And then I would go to the corner and I'm like, all right, now let me try to do some wall wrestling. But I'm like wall wrestling guys who only do jujitsu. So they're
Like
like
wearing
pulling
jeans.
guard against the wall. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not it. So like when I moved to Vegas, it was like all these pure MMA guys giving me pure MMA looks. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow. And I think that's when I started to like really make some like leaps and bounds. And I was able to like understand the game a bit better.
But I also think you not having the resources at that time and you having to do it on your own also leveled you up so much, right? Because it's definitely harder when you start like that. So I definitely think that that was really good for you in the beginning, even though it's way harder that you actually had to like figure things out on your own like that. You know, it kind of made you have your own coach in your mind. You know, I feel like sometimes people are too dependent on coaches, and I think that when we could become our own coach and then we have them as a resource, then it's even better because now you have two brains instead of just one.
Uh-huh.
Because then you have to just blindly trust somebody and hope that they're giving you the best advice, right?
Yeah, I didn't, and for sure, and honestly, I'll say like that's something that I'm learning that I'm trying to like be able to like let go a little bit, because I'm like, man, I did all this work, I got myself here, and then now when I have a coach and they're like, don't do this, I'm like, what? Don't tell me what? Not, why do I gotta do that? You know, like I'm like I could be like a little resilient, you know, sometimes, but I
Yeah.
still listen because I am like a good listener. I'm like, okay, I hear them out, for sure, but yeah, like sometimes like I'll have an idea and they're like, no, I think it's like this. I'm like, "Ah, I don't know. I don't know." Like, I think I
That's
want
how
to
I
try.
am too with jiu-jitsu. Like I've been
Yeah.
told it's very hard to coach me because I've been basically my own coach since I'm about 13, 14 years old with my sister. I've been constantly training with people. And Um, it's very hard for me to blindly trust anyone when they tell me things. So when they say something to me, my brain instantly wants to argue and be like, "Well, there's I would say there's only three people that I would blindly listen to right now. Probably William Tackett. Whenever he tells me anything, I'll just do it. Like I have that. He has that amount of knowledge. I think Cobrinha has knowledge like that as well, and probably Rafael Mendez. Probably those three in my brain. Like if they just blindly tell me to do something, I would just be like, okay, you
Yeah,
know.
100%. I mean, I definitely like someone like William, you know, like he's super knowledgeable.
Genius.
Like even when we're like talking about MMA, he's like he'll be like this and that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That sounds really good. And then sometimes I'll be like, yeah, but you got to think about this, and he'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. But like ideally, like he's very smart when it comes to that. So like I trust him for sure, you know. But we've had years of like trust together, so it's like it makes
But it's
sense.
good that you have that thought in your mind of arguing. Like it's important you have that. Like because we can't blindly listen to just anyone. Like we'll die. Like especially in MMA. Like
Yeah,
I was talking to John Wood last night, our coach. He's the head coach of Syndicate for anyone listening, and I was telling him that it's very hard for me to trust people, and especially in MMA because there's so many billion people that could tell you advice, right?
yeah,
And if you go blindly trust somebody giving you the wrong advice in MMA, you could literally die. Like jiu-jitsu is a little easier to trust someone because what's the worst case? You just lose a match. In MMA, you could get brutally knocked out, like blindly listening to someone, right? So it definitely takes more work to trust somebody. But when I do feel like that's the biggest thing for me right now is just building that trust, you know. And John's been teaching me so much, so I'm so grateful for him. He's a great coach, another genius, and like he just so much knowledge.
yeah. Because he's also like me and him, like we've really started to like this last like year and a half, like we've been really working really well together. Because when I first got to Syndicate, I didn't know anything like about the MMA, so I was doing a lot of things wrong. So like a lot of times, or if I start doing crazy stuff, he'll like his MMA mind will be like, hey, let's do this, and he'll try to contain it more. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, okay. But then there's times where like he'll be like, no, don't do that. And then I'll pop out to the other side and I'll have a heel hook. And then you're like, okay, like, you know, so it's like, we've definitely have like learned together, but like he definitely contained me. If I start getting too like crazy and I'm out here, he'll like bring me back down. He's like, no,
But
right
I
here.
also think he likes the awkwardness. He likes the craziness. Like even with me, he's like telling me now, he's like, I know that you're not going to be a traditional MMA fighter. You're going to be awkward. You're going to do weird shit that none of them will do. But I want you to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very good at like funneling and keeping you in like good position. You know, like he's gonna give you the fundamentals of MMA, which I think is really important in general. Is just having good fundamentals, like good footwork,
Yeah.
good basics, good arm bar. You know what I mean? In jiu-jitsu, it's like that will go really far away. And then once you get your hands on it, then you're like, oh, I get it. And then you can get even more crazy. You know, and so it's a great combo.
Yeah, I just think right now that you're basically the face of the jiu-jitsu transition to MMA. I'd say that you're doing it the most successful, right? So I feel like you represent everyone in jiu-jitsu that wants to do that transition one day. You know, because there are a lot of people that will want to do that. So I think that we're basically documenting right now in live speed your transition to now being in the UFC, right? And then eventually to winning the belt. So I just think it's very fascinating. Like even Mighty Mouse, when I talked to him about MMA and transition, he's like, the guy you gotta listen to, the guy you gotta talk to is Kody Steele. Like he was super impressed with you.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it's the guys too, you know, like that were ahead of us, you know, like Ryan Hall. I mean, shoot,
Yeah.
even like Gary Tonon, you know, like
Mhm.
those guys, you know, hunted the legs and they got leg lock submissions, but then they also, you know, they got hurt doing them and like the way they're
They
doing
did
them.
all the trial and error. They did all the crazy things to test.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even like seeing like what positions, like, you know, like Gary Tonin, he fought Ton Lee over at one,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
he was like hunting the leg lock, and he was going like outside heel hook, and he was trying to go, and then it's
And
like
then boom, boom.
yeah, and if you watch a lot of replays on that and other guys who have gone for leg locks, the outside hook's the most dangerous one to go for, especially when they can stand up and put their head above your head. You know, very dangerous. But then you have guys like Ryan Hall, you know, then he started exposing people in 50-50 and then started playing there. Started, oh, okay, this is better, you know, like I like this is safer, you know, and he kind of dissected it too. And like I said, like I learned a lot from him because when I first learned from him, it was kind of crazy. I just did like the ADCC trials and I got third place. And then like literally like a couple like weeks later, Ryan Hall like DMs me and like, oh man, you got sick jujitsu. I was like, love to train with you. I was like, dang, okay, really?
Wow.
All right,
He's
sick.
so
Like,
cool also.
yeah,
I love Ryan.
He's the man. And then so he flew me out there and I just stayed with him for like 2 weeks. And like the first like 2 days we did jujitsu. But then after that, he's like, well, so like what's like your plans? Like I was like, I really want to do like MMA. Like that's like my goal, you know? And he was like, really? So then he kind of just we started like play spar and move it. And then he's like, no, you be pretty good. You'd be very good at this if you like want to. I was like, you think? And I was like, I want to. And then he was like, yeah. And then he just started like telling me all these things like, you know, you could fight like this, you could be like this, you could be like here,
Mm.
everyone's this. And like I just learned so many really cool things from him that like I still today am like it's stuff that I've learned or the stuff that I applied to like training or anything, you know. And so it was like really cool to like, you know, learn from those type of people, you know, that have already made the walk.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I think that Ryan Hall had such a crazy game. You know, people don't give him enough credit, but the only person he lost to was Ilya Taporia. And I think he broke his hand in the first round before getting knocked out, right? And so, like everyone else, he was beating. Like he had such a like crazy game, and he even inside heel like BJ Penn.
Yeah. Super legendary. That's crazy.
So I think like I think what we're seeing now is a lot of people are talking trash about jiu-jitsu not working in MMA, and that kind of motivates me more to join you alongside you to show everyone that we could use our jiu-jitsu in MMA. You know, I think that the standard traditional old school way of doing jiu-jitsu facing the person, I think it's difficult. But I think that if we make our whole game with everything behind the person, like instead of an outside heel hook, going to like a heel bar, which is like a heel hook knee bar, right? Where your head's not facing, like Damian Anderson did in one of his matches. He's also doing an amazing transition. Or inside heel hooks where you're behind the person. Or I think that there's so many different ways, but it is a different jujitsu. And it just cannot be the standard way that we learn in the gym. I think that that's a misconception right now that, oh, yeah, the jiu-jitsu you learned, you could just use in a street fight. No, because you'll get knocked out if you're facing the person. You don't know how to frame them properly.
Yeah.
But I think that it's up to us now to show the next generation that jiu-jitsu is still legit. It's not a shitty karate or kung fu.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Like I feel like this, like I feel like this is like some like secret sauce that people don't like know about and naturally. But like when I moved to Vegas, I met a lot of MMA guys, like pure MMA dudes, and I would grapple them and I would train with them and I would do stuff to them and then I would like leg lock them. Or like, bro, how you do
Yeah.
that? And I'm like, you guys like you do it like this, do it like that, and they're like, I'm
They
like,
don't know
try.
how to defend this.
Yeah, they'll be like, "I'm all about here, try it." They're like, "No, no, no, that's not. It's not a good work for. It's not a good thing for me." Or like, if someone does this to me, like I'll just punch them, and I'm like, "Okay," but that's like 80 to 90% of the guys that I've met who are like that. Like they don't even. They're like, not many people are gonna do this. So I'm like, damn, okay. So like, there's a loophole there, you know, like.
Yeah.
Everybody's working on it, so like, there's only, and I think if you look at the charts of like what positions people like spend, I don't know what the chart is, but I think like let's say like side control, people probably don't spend that much time in side control or like something they probably put like 5% or 2% out of all of it. If you put someone in 50-50, there's probably 0.1% people who like actually experience that, you know? So it's
Even
like
Cody Sandhagen, right, from Ryan Hall's gym, another person that was doing. Yep.
exactly.
It just
So
shows a loophole that no one's working.
no, and it's like, you know, like I think in like a couple years, you know, like 10 years, like kids who are like 18 or who are like coming up, you know, like when they get to like the age where they're going to MMA, that gap will close because they will know heel hook defense. But as of now, like I mean, you see the top level guys, you know, not even know what to do when they get there. So it's like,
Yeah.
imagine I get you into a 50-50 position and we're having a shootout and I have like thousands of reps in that position and you have
So you're gonna kill everyone there every time,
yeah, you just wait for them to make them
and they're
easy
gonna
base.
try to punch you, and they're gonna break their leg.
Exactly. It's like, and it's like, oh, you defend my leg lock once, twice. That's totally normal. That's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to defend it, you know? And then I'll just
It's
beat
like
you.
people with bow and arrows, and you have like an AK-47. Like literally, it feels like that when you go with someone that has no heel hook defense, right? Like they literally have like a bow and arrow. You're just with an AK-47. You're like,
Yeah, bro. It's like, it's almost not fair, you know? And in those positions, like I don't hunt them, but I can find them, you know? Like if I need to find them, you know?
And something that I am working on now myself is something I heard Roger Gracie say once a long time ago. He said that he wants his jiu-jitsu to be able to be done in no gi, and in a fight. And I
Yeah.
find that very interesting. I never really thought about the fight aspect, right? Because I'm a competitor in sport jiu-jitsu. I was just focused on winning matches the most efficient way.
Yeah.
So now in my brain, I think that that's the evolution for me in jiu-jitsu, that I want anything I'm working that I could do in a fight, in an MMA fight. And that's my new obsession. Even when I'm training regular rounds for regular jiu-jitsu people, I'm constantly thinking, where can I get punched in the face? How can I do this move without getting knocked out? And I think that's so much more pure doing jiu-jitsu in terms of a fight. And coming from one of the people with the worst style for a fight, I think that I'm finally changing now, and I think that this is really good for me. This MMA training. I make the joke that Andrew and you both beat out the gay style I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's just you just gotta be smart in there, like something about like say like Ryan Hall that I really, really like, and it's no disrespect, but he's not the most athletic guy, not the most
Yeah,
explosive guy, probably not the strongest guy.
that's
Like
a compliment to him because he made his game work without those attributes. I think that that was a compliment, you saying that. Like, it shows how technical he was and smart.
yeah, and I feel like it's like if somebody, hopefully, someone like myself who is a bit more athletic and strong, but also can apply his type of tactics to the fight. Um, I think that's a very dangerous thing because it's just about getting the fight to where you want the fight to be.
Yeah. With
And
wrestling too, you have both. You have the Ryan Hall game who
yeah,
with wrestling.
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, like my last fight, like I hit like funk roll, and like you could see in the commentators, people are like, "What is he doing? He needs to get up." And I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm chilling. Like, I'm resting right now." But it's like that stuff comes from him, and it's just he's so smart that it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Like, again, I love when there's a new style that no one really understands yet, and like you go in, like it was like kind of like Berimbolo in like 2010, 11 when Rafael Mendes just started doing that to everyone, or then when Lapel came around with Keenan Cornelius with Wormguard, right, and then he did it with Leandro Lowe, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" And like it's so fascinating. Like, it really does have the effect of like a bow and arrow versus like a machine gun, and everyone's confused what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I think about like something else that gives me a lot of inspiration is when leg locks started like coming out and they were getting big, like people would be putting leg locks and they're like, oh, they get so scared and they would just tap because they didn't know. Or they were like someone else that I really like look up to or like gave me a lot of motivation was Lachlan Giles. Like when he's
Mm,
in 80cc and he heel
yeah,
hooked everybody, it's like ideally he should not have been able to beat these guys. But the fact that there's such a hole in those guys' games with that, it's like, well, then he can beat them. But now, like even big boys know how to like defend heel hook, so it's just harder.
yeah.
You know, the gaps,
I
the
do
gaps closed.
I do think that leg locks are like the only way possible for a smaller guy that's training with people not the same, not that they're higher level than. If I'm training with someone that's the same level as me and bigger, I think it's very difficult for me to even attack any other submission on them, because the skill level is so high. Leg locks are at least a smaller part of your body, right? With the exception of the arm bars. I think limbs itself are a lot easier.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that people say the leg lock game is gay. Like, I get a lot of shit for this, but I think that in terms of making it work in MMA, if if I go to MMA, for example, and I'm able to leg lock all these people in MMA and I don't get knocked out, I think that they would be like, "Holy shit! Like, he actually was doing an efficient game for MMA." Like, you know,
yeah, yeah. It works until like you could say it, and then once you can go out there and do it, then
yeah.
it proves to people that it works. Then you start making people believe. But
And I feel like you're my Ryan Hall. Like, you're my Ryan Hall. How you had Ryan Hall as an inspiration. You're my Ryan Hall now to to watch and like follow like what you're doing. So then like when I go into my fights, we could like do the same path. Like,
oh
I think I
yeah,
have my first fight in end of September. Um Bryce Mitchell and me are getting set now for our next match.
yeah,
So, but I'm gonna have an MMA fight, I think. What month are we in? We're in almost July. We're in July now. So I think in 2 or 3 months now, I'm gonna have my first MMA fight. I was talking to John about it yesterday night. So after this, I think I'm gonna start doing as many as I can. Like, he wants us to start going deep in. I'm gonna start fighting 125 in MMA, so I'm excited about that. I think it's a very good weight class for me. I've never lost a grappling match at that weight class. I'm just physically very strong at that weight class, so
Yeah.
we
I
can just get me not to die standing and hug people and get into that jiu-jitsu game and I don't get knocked out. I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think also what's different too about MMA is I mean, you could still obviously get really far with just like being super tough, you know, like I'd say like Platinum Perry, that dude, he got through just being a dog, you know, and that you could definitely do that. But I think at the highest level too, I think being smart now, like, I think like the new meta of like type fighting is like always making sure you can be smart and like find the weaknesses or have a game where like if you're just a striker that's like it's tough, but like if you could like find the holes in your opponent's game and then exploit those and have a game plan to exploit them, you know. And I
Mhm.
think that is like a something sort of like I study people in jiu-jitsu like when I would compete with them, but I study people in MMA. Like I'm watching
It
first
matters a
round.
lot more, huh?
Yeah, like I'm like watching like first round, first 10 seconds of what they do, what's the first punch they do. Oh, this guy kicks a
Yeah.
lot. Like every
Their
fight he
trend.
starts. Yeah, every fight he does, he always starts with a low kick. And it's like, okay. And then when you go into the fight, you're expecting a low kick and it's like you sparred him before, you know? So it's like I think being smart going into fights is very it's a good thing to have.
I think now going back to what we talked about with learning self defense and actually doing jujitsu for a fight, I kind of like if I ever had a gym one day, I kind of think it's important, even in class, people learning how to throw a punch correctly, how to block a punch. I think that even if you're a sport jujitsu competitor, I think that we are butchering our sport too much and focusing on just competing in sport jiu-jitsu. I think that that would actually complement us even in our training for sport jiu-jitsu, learning how to throw punches, how to defend a strike, how to slip punch. You know what I mean? I think like all these things should be involved when we're learning jiu-jitsu now. I think moving forward, that might be the next trend that we could like create.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know when this will be, but ideally, you know, my end goal was always like, oh, I want to open up a gym, like just like a jujitsu gym, you know. But what I would do was when I was training for my old fights, I was just trying to get everyone or anyone who could spar or train, and I would take them after class, and they'd be like, "Oh, I want to spar." I'm like, "Yeah, come spar." And they're like, "I don't have any striking though." I'm like, "Perfect." I was like, "Do what you would do on the street, like get the fight to the ground, control the guy." Don't get hit and try to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like a very big eye opener thing. Like I'd have like brown belts that were like good, and then they'd come do striking, and then they would just like their jujitsu was out the window. Like they were like just like hugging and grabbing a leg and like something that they just don't do, you know. But like the striking can
Well,
make
Mike
it.
Tyson, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Bro, for real. I remember when I first started too, I was like, yeah, no way, I'm just better than this guy. I'll take him. But like you get hit in the face hard, you're like you start rethinking things. You're like, okay, maybe I don't do that. But I would like to like I think if I have a gym, I will teach like jujitsu and that will be the thing. But then like on the weekend or something, like I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna spar. So whoever wants to come in and spar, like let's spar. And it's also
But
fun. I love
even
sparring.
Even, like, I think that it's really interesting because even, like, the people have, like, this weird misconception in jujitsu, like, "Oh, jujitsu wrestling is more manly, like, it's better for a fight," but jujitsu wrestling and stuff, like, your stance is, like, your hands are down, you're kinda postured up, like, your hands are not even up protecting your face. So, I
Yeah.
think even jujitsu wrestling doesn't even go into a fight. Like, right? Like, it's so different than MMA wrestling. So, like, I just think that our sport really doesn't really apply. I think the finishing of the takedowns do, and that's the only part that's similar to MMA wrestling. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the hand fight in jiu-jitsu that is happening, it isn't even very similar to MMA wrestling.
It really is. Like honestly, like I was just talking to Andrew about this yesterday. I was like, he was like showing me all these like different like ties he's been doing and all this, and I was like going, I was like, bro, I was like, I don't even like feel like I remember how to hand fight because I just don't do it anymore. Like it's so like you don't hand fight at all in MMA, you know, really like you get like inside grips and stuff like that, but like you're not like slapping arm drags, clearing collar ties, like
Yeah.
it's just so different, you know, like you know when you see like wrestlers come straight from wrestling to jujitsu, and then they start shooting on people, and the guy's just standing straight up. They get guillotined, or they get
Yeah.
swept, they get beat up, and it's like that is like MMA. So it's like if you were wrestling and going to MMA, you did jujitsu going to MMA. The takedowns just feel different. Like it's like the setups are
I think
different.
I think it feels easier, the MMA wrestling. It just feels so, it's a different sport. Like it feels more, that middle ground of the hand fighting is just gone. Like there's none of it. Like
Yeah.
you want to shoot on someone, you make them block, and then you can shoot. It's not like jiu-jitsu where the person's just waiting for you to shoot the guillotine you, and their arms are like low, and everyone's kind of in this weird, awkward, postured up stance because no one wants to get guillotined. I just think it just feels so different, you know. Something I've been doing wrong in MMA, like that I started, I keep reaching my arms out like this when I'm standing. Like I'm throwing some punches and I'll reach out like this, and then John and Vince are like, no, you'll get punched here, boom. Like, but that's jiu-jitsu, right? We're like, oh, we can hand fight, but the second you like get punched in the face.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say like the one of the toughest, the hardest things about the MMA wrestling is yeah, maybe I shoot, I take the person down, but what makes it difficult is keeping someone down because in jujitsu, like
Mm,
if you sweep somebody or you take someone down, they're like the guy on bottom's like, okay, I'm playing guard now. And then you're like passing to the outside, you're doing stuff, and he might not even get
yeah,
back up until he sweeps you, which he might mean he does or not. But like MMA, it's like lava. Like their back hits the ground, they're boom, they jump right back up, they're gone. So it's like learning how to like pin somebody and keep their hips flat and their shoulders flat and keeping them down. That's
whole
like
different layer.
yeah, that's all. Like even now, sometimes I'll be training with like guys who are like who come into town because Vegas they have everybody, but they'll be like jujitsu guys who are very good, and they'll like I'll like be trying to pass them, and then they'll sweep me, and then I'm like I'll just kick them in the chest and stand up, and I'm like okay now we're wrestling, and then I'll take them down or they'll take me down, but then I'll push them and I'll stand back up, and then it makes like their jujitsu not work as good, you know.
Yeah. Like Craig Jones said, just stand up.
For real though, honestly, that's like I studied that one too, and it literally like it was and those DVDs that Craig made when he was coming out like the Power Ride and like the Just Stand Up, like that was all MMA based. Like he got that inspiration from like training with Volk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you could tell when I'm watching him, like this is super MMA. Like this is very good, you know.
I think that that's more like, again, now that I'm getting older, maybe this is me getting older and wiser. I just see it as more pure doing jiu-jitsu that is based more for MMA, like based more for a fight, you know? And that's more fascinating to me now as I'm getting older.
Yeah. And like when I'm training jujitsu, like what I'm thinking about is like I feel like in jujitsu back in the day, I was always like, okay, I'm passing, I'm taking the back, I'm doing stuff and blah blah blah. Now when I'm training jujitsu, like for MMA, I'm thinking about like sharpening the blade. Like I'm only thinking about submissions. I'm thinking about, if the back's there, I'll take the back for sure. But like and then staying in certain MMA positions. But for the most part, like I want my submissions tight. I want my submissions
Yeah.
fast, sharp. Just so like because like the game is different, but the submissions they gotta be sharp. I feel like in MMA.
Yeah. You don't have time to mess up. Like it's you need to do it right. I feel like for me, when I left the gi, I feel like the gi, everything is very easy in terms of submissions because there's so much friction, right? If you get a submission in the gi, you have full control. Then when I transitioned to no gi, I feel like when I started competing in one championship, the rules were that you could only score if you get submissions. So it made me in my mind, the only way I could win matches is spamming submissions. So I got really good at entering submissions over and over and over. But I felt like my mechanics weren't perfect at that time, but my entries were very good. So I got in the habit of just being really aggressive with my entries. And then I feel like over the years, working now with Willie and people like this, at that level, I feel like I'm starting to get better with my mechanics for finishing spots. But I do feel like us being able to get to a spot over and over, I feel like one helped me get in that path of being more aggressive to submissions. Now being able to finish, right? Because I don't want to end up in a, especially in MMA, you don't, if you fuck up, like if we take someone down, we get mount, and you have a chance to do an arm triangle and finish. If you lose that arm triangle, the guy gets slippery. Now you're in round 2 and you can get knocked out. So like, it's there's a lot of consequences if you don't finish the match. That's why I
Right.
find it so interesting.
Yeah. Like even like taking the back, like people, if you take the back, it's more slippery because there's no rash guards. And also the gloves, they make it so hard to hand fight because they can just like
Mm.
stay really attached to you. And so like maybe you're taking someone's back, you're holding them and trying to do jujitsu hand fighting, but the jujitsu hand fighting is different because the gloves are in the way. You can't lock up chokes as good, you know. So a lot of people end up doing
Or palm
palm.
to palm, right?
Yeah. So it's like, and then maybe you were squeezing him so hard, you were squeezing the body triangle trying to hold him, but you couldn't get it, and all of a sudden, bloop! Now he turned, and now you're on bottom, your bottom
Fuck.
close guard, and then that guy's just like elbowing you, hitting you, and you're just like, oh my god, this is terrible. So it's like it is like it's very different and weird, you know. But you once you understand the rules, you know, then like I said, you can kind of start playing with them a bit differently.
No, yeah, I think it's so interesting. Let me talk to you now about Bryce Mitchell. So I got called out for a grappling match with Bryce. Um, he called my game gay. He said that he doesn't watch gay shit, and he said that he's the person that could beat me, and he has the game to beat me. So I accepted the challenge with him, and I said that I won't pull guard and I won't do leg locks with him. Um, and I think that makes it more fun, right? I think that me standing with him and banging, like I'm training MMA every day now. You know, I'm doing a lot of wrestling and like we're working how to get the submissions a lot with John and like all the guys. So I feel like it's just perfect for the training I'm doing right now, having a match like this. And I feel like I could show another part of my game. I do spam leg locks too much. It's hard when it's such an easy, efficient game. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck do I convince psych myself out when I know
Yeah.
the easiest path is in front of me? Like,
Yeah,
it's hard not to take the easiest path.
for
It's
sure.
but it is me bitching out a lot of the time. You know, there are better things I could do to be more exciting, but it's just I feel like this. We literally have to give me this limitation to force me to not take that bait. You know?
Hmm. I mean, realistically, you have a match with Bryce Mitchell, and you say, "All right, we're going full throttle. I'm gonna take you out any way you want to give it to me." I mean, you could sub him literally in 5 seconds. You know, once you make
Yeah.
contact, it could be over. You know,
Yeah.
definitely not touching the legs and like wrestling him, putting the
Yeah.
limitations on you will make it trickier and tougher. But you know, at the same time, like he's not going to be able to stop like the arm drags or any front headlock stuff,
No.
or like if you take his back, it will be over. You know, like so there's those things as well. Um, but I think like with a match like that, I think I love that match for you, especially if you like say you put those limitations on you, it'll
I think it's
force you.
fun. I just think we make it
Yeah.
more exciting to the fans. You know, I think that it is true that again we're jiu-jitsu nerds, so it's fun for us watching leg lock things and people doing like the different things. But it is for like an MMA spectator. They're like, "What the fuck is this? Like, it looks so gay. It doesn't look good." Like, so I could see that perspective from Bryce. You know, and I don't doubt it. You know what I mean? That's why like I even said like, "Dude, I'm training with Andrew every day, who's beating me up." Cody's slapping me when I'm doing this shit. So like we're getting me out of this. We're taking the gay out of me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. It's coming
we're
out.
pouring holy water on me. We're getting it out of me.
Yeah, but I do like that the match though because I mean Bryce is like legit, you know, like he
A
beat
legit
Carl
black belt.
Gracie, you know, he beat Carl Gracie, knocked him out and put him out with the MMA fight that they had, you know. So he
Yep. And it was a traditional jiu-jitsu style Kron was doing, you know.
Mhm.
I feel like that was showing us like the traditional jiu-jitsu style that does not work in MMA, you know. I think that my goal with my match with Bryce, I will wrestle. I will I'll see if I can take him down. We'll see where scrambles we get in. I just want to get into a good scrap and wherever I end up, I want to do a submission with him that if it was a real fight, I wouldn't get knocked out. I wouldn't get slammed. You know what I mean? That's kind of my goal in this match to show that my jiu-jitsu would work in a fight.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, like I said, like he's a great candidate to even try it to because he's gonna give you like the purest look of MMA, but his
Yep.
grappling is also like good. He's got the 10. He's like 10 planet a little bit,
Yeah.
so he's gonna understand the jujitsu a lot better than most MMA guys will.
Yeah, he's a perfect opponent for us while I transition to MMA. It's like the perfect in between going with Bryce because he'll give me the exact MMA feel of those guys. and I'll just keep being able to adjust my algorithm for MMA like we've been doing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be a fun match. Came out of nowhere too. He just calls you out. You're like, okay, we're gonna have
I
a
know.
match.
I was just like, what the hell is this? But I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
No, but I was talking to Hunter last night. Like, I think it's gonna be September, October right now. I'm unsure. So I just have to like make sure it's another month in my MMA fight. So like that's what's fun, balancing both of them. Like it's it's gonna be interesting, like the balancing them. Like that's something I look forward to doing. But my UFC BJJ, I typically will have 3 matches a year with them. So I kind of like want to bang them out like earlier in one part of the year, at the end of the year, and then the rest of the year I could just focus on MMA, like kind of do it like that.
Yeah, that's smart because when I was still fighting on the regional scene, I was just like I was super busy all the time. Like I was doing an MMA fight and I would boom, I fight the MMA fight, and then literally like a month, 4 weeks, 3 weeks later, I was boom, I was jumping in a jiu-jitsu match. And then after that, I was like back to MMA. I'd take another
Were you
MMA
ever
fight.
getting confused which was which, like in the match where you're like your autopilot was it switching?
Um, a little bit like kind of well, it was crazy because when I was doing MMA on the regional scene, I was just throwing hands. Like I was like I wanted to test myself, you know. And then when it came to jujitsu, I was just like only wrestling hard. I was just like trying to wrestle hard and like just make
Yeah.
people play guard. And then I was hunting the back and then trying to choke them from the back because I was like, well, I could translate that to MMA. Like if I'm working my wrestling and I can like just choke someone from the back, like that's good. But I
Ah, so
wasn't.
okay, so you were already doing that at that point. Even when you were doing jiu-jitsu matches, you were trying to make your jiu-jitsu function in a fight, like an MMA fight, even competing in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, especially when I was doing both of them, when I was training for both of them at the same
All right,
time.
so I'm on the right track. This is what I said was correct then with Bryce. That's the right track for us.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that's how I would do it. Like I was doing leg locks, but I wasn't like doing leg locks like that. Like, I probably do more leg locks now, but then I was like, I have to focus on striking because I was so far behind in the striking. So I'm like, I gotta put all my time into that.
I have a funny story for you, Kody. So, do you know who AJ Souza is? You kind of have a similar demeanor to him, but he was really high level like a few years ago. He was like my main training partner. He was a middleweight. He beat Lucas Lepre. He was under Wagner. Do you know AJ Souza?
Bro, he sounds so familiar. I
You
for
would know
sure,
him if you saw
I
him.
for
He
sure
was
know him. Yeah.
he was very high level, and he was like my main training partner. He would big brother me. He would like beat me up every day. But when we would train, um, I used to play a lot of lapel. I would play a lot of lapel lasso, and then he would tell me every day that shit's gay. That shit's gay. So then he literally stopped me from playing lapel because every time I started lapel, my brain would be like, "That's gay. Don't do it." So then I started playing more sleeves. So he got me out of playing lapel from just saying it's gay every day. He said it for like a year straight, and then like it became like ingrained in my mind. Don't do it. That shit's gay.
I know. I remember when lapels like when like Keenan came through and was doing the worm
Yeah.
guard. When he started doing worm guard, I was like playing with it. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But like at that point, I was already starting to like transition to just pure nogi. So I was like, I can't even spend any time learning that too much. Like,
Yeah, this is a horrible path for you to switch. Like when you train with anyone that's a gi person, they're like, "Oh, I want to train no gi." I'm like, "Okay, what guard did you play in the gi?" And they're like, "I play a lot of worm." And lapel." I'm like, "You're fucked."
yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I actually like I like training in the gi. Like it's fun. I really enjoy it. But I only enjoy it when I'm training with someone that I'm like even or I'm better than, you know. But like, because if I
Yeah.
train with someone who's like really good, I'm like, bro, I'm like not doing anything. Like they're just killing me right now, you know. Because
But
like
it's
they'll
also
start.
not applicable to the sport. Like if you train, if I play super gi with you with double sleeves where I'm lacing your arms, it's like how the fuck does that help you for MMA?
For sure. And it's just it's so confusing, you know, like if someone when someone I would go train with someone and they pull my lapel out and then they're just starting to wrap themselves up in it. I'm like, oh my God, this is not I did not study enough for this.
And I think that's what's interesting about doing gi jiu-jitsu because I did it my whole life, and the satisfaction of keeping someone wrapped up in control. That control, when you switch to no gi, you're like, what the hell is this? Why am I not able to control the person like I was in the gi? Like, why is the person able to move right now? Like
Yeah.
in the gi, it's like you have one exchange, you get grips, you lock them in like a dog when they lock their jaw, like,
Uh-huh.
and now your grips are locked, and now you don't really move at all,
No.
you know? So I think that that's the biggest thing why I got so much better was no-gi forced me not to be like that, right? And then I still have that isometric from the gi, so I feel like my gi has gotten so much better from doing no-gi because I wasn't able to just chill. Because
Yeah.
again, in the gi, it's just like double please and chill. Get to a spot and chill. No-gi, you don't really get chill spots. It's like the only chill spots in no-gi are attacking submissions. Like you're
Yeah.
locked a submission in. That's your only spot you get to chill.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I got. I feel like sometimes. I feel if when I look back, I feel like the gi helped me maybe just try to compete smarter because there's points, there's advantages, there's negatives,
To
there's
raise your mat IQ.
yeah, like that's how I felt because I lost so many matches in the beginning of just not understanding what was going on. I was like, man, this guy's like, and this guy was like playing me like a book, and like, and then you have to like learn how to compete with those guys, and you gotta like, it's super tricky, it's
It's such
super
a
tricky.
puzzle.
Yeah, so that I felt like it helped me for that. I mean, positional wise, a little bit, it helped me like secure a good position, but yeah, like gi and no-gi, almost two different sports, like
Yeah.
no-gi's a scrap. It can be a scrap.
Yeah, I see it like every layer. Like if I practice wrestling, it makes my no-gi better because wrestling's harder. If I practice Muay Thai, it makes my no-gi better because it's harder. If I practice no-gi, it makes my gi better because it's harder. It's like any place you're uncomfortable if you go to, it like brings you like it's an easy like each one's a harder layer, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, I agree. It's freaking it's enough. And then now you add punches to it, then it gets even more complicated. You're like, what's going on here?
So right now, what is your plan? Like do you have any upcoming fights like scheduled with UFC right now?
Nothing yet. Uh, I want
You think you'll be
to,
in Australia again?
brother. I hope
We keep
not.
putting you in Are you Australian? Like, is this something we didn't know about you? Are you Australian?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's crazy. If they put me back out there again, I think I'm just gonna move out there. I'm like, all right, guys, I'll just stay out here. Might as well, bro. I'll start being a local or something. But that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I hope I get booked soon. I definitely will get one in before the end of this year. I would like to. I
Mhm.
would for sure like to. I don't know when that'll be. But ideally, I'm ready to go. Like my body feels good, so like I'm ready to make a cut. I could cut in like 2 weeks if I wanted to, and
Yeah.
make the weight. But I would prefer a camp.
Well, I
Um,
remember after your last fight that you just won, you were literally back the next day training normal. So like that's the thing about you. You're always in shape and ready to fight, I feel. Do you feel like you kind of have to be in the beginning where you're at in UFC, like at that area could you basically get called any second? Is that how it works? Like you're just on standby, like ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just don't. It's hard to plan, around stuff sometimes because they're like, "Oh, you want to come to this thing?" I'm like, "I don't know, bro. They might call me, and they might not. But like, I would much rather be ready.
Because you could
And
miss an opportunity, right?
for sure. And like sometimes I like there's so many fighters on the UFC roster now. It's like it's not like it used to be where you see a guy fight and then they turn him around and get him again. It's like once you fight, now you go in the back of the line and you got to wait your turn again. It seems like,
Mm.
and there's so many fighters on the roster, so it's like I have to be ready because the only opportunities if I really want to fight are the ones they're gonna call when they're like, "Hey, this guy dropped out. We need a fight replacement. Can you fight in
And then they
3
remember you did them that favor, right? And then you get a lot out of like the second you do them that favor and step up.
Yeah, like if you say yes to those opportunities and you're prepared, it's like that's what you wanna be. That's how you move up in this
Yeah.
league, I think the fastest. So
Yeah. I feel like when I was doing even in jiu-jitsu when I was with one championship, even UFC BJJ now, it's kind of very similar that I never feel like I could just go on vacation and chill. Because at any point they could just message me, "Hey, actually, this month we would rather you do a super fight with this person. Can you do it for us now? We need you for this card." We like so you don't really get that novelty that you would probably get in another type of sport. Like there's a set date for you, and then you're off for like 5, 6 months. I feel like we're constantly on the clock. At any moment, even if I'm on vacation, I'm eating like shit. I know in my mind, like, all right, I'm eating like shit. I'm not training. They can literally call me next month. Hey, could you do this month instead? Now, if I say no, I'm kind of letting them down. So we, it's just you're constantly in that mindset that you have to be ready to fight any moment. Like even when I'm sleeping at night, like in bed, I'm like, all right, I can wake up. I have to be ready to fight. Like it's just your fight or flight every second. I kind of feel.
Yeah. And I like always want to stay, I just want to stay ready at all times, but also like what I would do is like I feel like I train a lot, and if I'm eating bad, I can't train very much. And if I eat bad, then like I don't recover as well and I get injuries like crazy. So it's like I'm just like I just want to train a bunch so I can keep learning, and like so I'll just eat. I try to stay like always ready to go much as I can. Like I'm always trying to stay ready.
What age did you start training jujitsu?
I think I started at 18. Yeah.
18.
Yeah, I started a little bit later.
Wow. Okay. And were you cutting a lot of weight when you were younger? Were you like I always ask this question because like I always try to bring to light how many people get eating disorders, for example, from cutting weight their whole life. Maybe because you started when you're older, you didn't experience that as much. But I've been training and competing since I'm like 4. So it fucks your brain when you're dieting every second from like kid age. Did you feel like they fucked you up at all with dieting when you were younger?
Well, for sure, because when I did wrestling when I was in like middle school, high school,
Oh,
and
you didn't mention that. I meant what age did you start training, like overall, not just
Oh,
jujitsu.
yeah. So when I started that, they were like, "Oh, we want you to be a 145 or a 152." Or I was like, "Okay," but bro, I had no. They didn't tell me how to cut weight. I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was doing. So like, I used to, I used to legit just like eat like one egg or something in the morning, but like I would also like eat that, and then I'd be working out like in like a full suit on the heaters and next to the fireplace, like 6 a.m. just like cooking myself. And then I would go to school and I wouldn't eat, and then I'd finally eat at lunch, and then I'd eat like a Caesar salad or something. And then I would like go from like that. I
That
would go
sounds miserable.
Bro, it was so bad. And like I would go to class, and then I'd go to wrestling practice after, do weights. Then after that I'd go to the sauna at the YMCA, try to cut some more weight, I guess. And then I'd go home and I would eat something super light, and I'd get back on the bike and then the heat lamp and all that. And I would do that, and then I would make weight. And then once I made weight on the weekend, I would just
You
like
like shit.
I would just gorge myself. I'd eat like
Yep.
the Subway sandwiches, and then I'd eat like maybe like a cookie because they had a sale on the cookies or something. And then I would put all this weight back on, and then Monday or Tuesday come back around, and now I would do the same thing, back to starving myself. And
Uh,
after the first season of wrestling, like I almost wanted to quit because I was like, dude, like, this is so brutal. Like I can't do this. And then like I got an eating disorder, and I
no, it
just
literally gives you an eating disorder. It literally does.
yeah, I that was my first time experiencing something like that, and I went so hard. And I was like wrestling at 145, and I think in like 2 weeks I got up to like 185. I was so fat. Like everybody was calling me fat, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell, man?" But
No, yeah, I think that it's so hard at such a young age, like having to restrict to be a certain weight class, right? For me, it fucked up my brain so much. I used to binge eat also, like you said, I would starve, like not eat for like a few days, like just eating nothing. I would make weight and then I would binge eat. And I was so crazy when I would binge eat. I remember it's kind of embarrassing to say, but like I would lose control of like your brain never registers, hey, you're full, stop eating. Like that part of your brain goes away. Like, and then every time I had a portion, my brain would freak out. It's limited. It needs to be bigger. So I would have to make way more food than I was gonna eat just so my brain sees that there's more than I need to like relax that part of my brain. But my peak binge eating I used to do. I'll say it. I don't care anymore. I have no shame. I tell you guys everything. I used to. I would starve and then I would binge eat, and I would binge eat so much that my stomach, I would be like in screaming pain that it's stretching.
yeah,
Then I would do an Epsom salt bath to sweat out a little bit to make more room in my stomach to binge eat more.
yeah,
I had a gi that was one size bigger than the gi I wore. and then I would go to train the next day wearing that gi, only playing top because I was too fat to play guard.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Bro.
and I would, and then I would, so I was in this crazy, horrible pattern with food like this,
Yeah,
and I had no control. That's
yeah,
why I started doing the intermittent fasting. It literally was the first time I started having control again in my brain. Like, it wasn't even like I wanted to, but it was the first time I wasn't like this animal that was just looking in the counters for anything to eat.
mhm,
Like I was like a drug junkie for food. I hadn't it's embarrassing to say because we have such control as athletes, right? We control everything we do. We're so disciplined, and I could be disciplined when I need. I mean, I've made weight every time, but my brain was just getting more and more crazy with food. So when I would fast 24 hours, I felt like I had control again with the food, right? And then at night, I would eat this one meal like pizza or pasta, and it was like, oh, I'm satisfied. I could eat a lot of it, so I'd make this huge portion, and all of a sudden I started getting skinny doing this. And I was like, wow, this is like the first time I'm not dying, like
yeah.
with my brain.
Yeah, it's like that. Like you'll eat and your stomach will be so full. Like you're like, oh, like it's pain, like you but
But
then
you're
you
not
just
full. Like your brain doesn't feel full. Your stomach hurts, right? But your brain still wants more. Like it's like obsessing. What can I eat now? What can I eat now?
yeah, it's so crazy. And honestly, like I recognize this, so it's like every time I cut to 155, I still have this. Like I'm like, okay, like I know I'm craving food and I do it. So I kind of just I let myself, like I'll like weigh out like, okay, you should eat this much. But if I'm like if my body's like, no, I'm still hungry or I want to eat this, then I'll just do it, just
Yeah,
because like I'm like right after a fight, it's whatever. But it's also like when you make those crazy weight cuts, your metabolism gets really messed up, and
I know. I know
it's
for a
not
fact.
used to like all the sugar being in your body. So when you eat it, like it just you start filling out, you start getting
It just
swollen,
holds
and
on to you. It literally just stays in your body.
yeah, it's so bad. But it's like, bro, but
Did you ever make
it's
lists? Did you ever, when you were cutting weight, let me see if you've ever done this. Like, whenever I used to cut weight and I would be dying, I would like make a list of all the restaurants I'm gonna eat. And
yeah,
it wasn't even by my house. It's so dumb. I would like choose like in New York. This is the list of all the places I'm gonna go. There's this bakery here. There's this thing here. Like all these fucking random places. I would make this huge list on a Microsoft Word document. And then the second I would finish the fight, I would eat one bad meal, I would be disgusted, and then I wouldn't even eat anything from the list.
nah, yeah, I'm the same. I think I'll know when I'm deep in the weight cut when all of a sudden I'll blink and all of a sudden my Instagram reels are just all food, and
That's me too.
I'm deep in this, I'm suffering now, I think, and like so that's like my that's my problem. But then yeah, when I make the weight and I fight, I'm like, oh, I don't even want to eat any of that stuff, like the sugar and stuff.
Yeah, I think that one thing, like what we could get out of this podcast at least, is for kids that are coming up that are I first of all wouldn't recommend children cutting weight. I think that you should do whatever weight class you are. I think that you should think of it as you're building skills for when you become an adult, right? I don't think you should do crazy weight cuts. Like I never cut as a very young kid. I think that that's so wrong. I hear a lot of parents having their kids get sauna suits and stuff for jiu-jitsu tournaments. I think that's ridiculous, and you're setting your children up to have eating disorders when they get older. So I would really recommend children in our sport of jiu-jitsu not cutting weight until you're much older, and to get a good relationship with food. Maybe work with a nutritionist so you don't make all the mistakes Cody and me made, like just starving, thinking that that's how we're going to cut weight. Oh, if we don't eat, we'll get lighter, you know?
Yeah.
So I think having a better, like, at a young age, if you could get a better relationship with food, you'll have more discipline when you get older. I could happily say I'm finally with a good relationship with food. I don't have that crazy part of me anymore. So I'm happy I got rid of that. Or you seem pretty healthy as well. But we also have UFC nutritionists helping us, right?
Yeah, that right there is like game changer. Like honestly, I feel like I would have gotten into MMA a little sooner if I was just so worried about the weight cuts because I was like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm like this weight and I'm gonna have to make 55 and me making 170 is kind of like annoying for jiu-jitsu, you know? So I was like, how am I going to lose that extra weight that I go to
And then
55?
you're
So
overtraining, right? Because you're so obsessed with losing weight that it's not even like you're training to get skill or to get better. You become that you're training to burn calories.
yeah. Yeah, and you're not enjoying the process anymore. You're just hating every step of the way of like getting to the fight, you know? And it's honestly it's all supposed to be fun. It's hard work, but like, you know, the training camp should be fun, you know, it should be all that. But when you're just suffering because you're starving yourself, it's brutal. And then like that's like a huge game changer with the PI, you know, and the UFC is like they're like, eat this much, eat this. And then I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'm dying. And I'm like, I'm not like sleeping really well. They're like, oh yeah, okay, eat a little bit more carbs, eat this, eat that. And then you're sleeping like a baby. And it's like, wow,
Yeah.
this is a science, you
It's
know?
science.
Yeah. Makes me
I
a little
think
bit.
that maybe something cool, this might be controversial, but maybe something cool they could do for children. You know that machine, like it's such an easy machine that they put their hands on and it like measures all your body fat and how much weight your organs are. I don't know this, I'm not a doctor or anything like this, but I think maybe if they had, because it's an easy machine for them to use. Maybe if they started testing children like this and they see the amount of body fat they have and like this is the weight class you could do. Like, you know, in wrestling, they do the salt test, right? To see if you're hydrated. But that's bullshit because it's so easy to fake. All you have to do is hold your urine in and then cut water. Now you're hydrated with your urine, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think that that even helps anything, the hydration test.
Yeah, I heard when I was talking to some guys at one that were doing the fighting, uh, they were always talking about like different strategies of how to beat the hydration test. So like, bro, cut your weight, do this. They're like, and then like just
I don't
like
know anything about this.
yeah, and they're like, don't do they're like, don't go to the bathroom in the morning, but cut your weight, keep your piss, and then when you go,
Well,
you
that's what they
pee.
do in college wrestling also, right? The hydration test.
I think so. Yeah, it's
And it
brutal.
just has to be under a certain amount of percentage of sodium. Like it's like 1.0250. And if it's below that number, you're hydrated. Like it's amount of sodium in your urine. You know, so I feel like I don't know if that's the best number to go by. I think maybe body fat and like your organs, how much they weigh, maybe, and then they're like, okay, you could lose this amount of weight healthy, but I don't know. I just think for children, maybe this would be something that they could do long term.
Yeah, I wouldn't cut weight. Like even if like let's say if I had a kid and he was in jiu-jitsu or wrestling, like I'd be like, oh, he's like, oh, I gotta lose whatever pound. Like I wouldn't do it, you know. Like
Yeah,
it's not even like, yeah, you want to win, but like it's just about getting experience, especially at a young age. Like you want to get the
it's
harder
better for them
matches
fighting
in.
someone bigger and stronger.
Yeah, like you want to get those matches. You want to get the experience. You want to feel those losses because it's gonna like make you a lot better when you get older and when it starts to matter, when it starts to count. It's gonna matter, you know.
Yeah, like how you know in school they say don't do drugs. We're like don't cut weight, kids.
Yeah, please don't do it, dude. Because
Yeah,
that's
don't do it.
definitely how some kids probably just don't make it through and they don't reach their full potential because they quit already because like fuck, dude, this isn't fun. This is
No, yeah,
hard.
the 2 layers I think that make kids quit 3 layers. The crazy parents that like the crazy jiu-jitsu parents that push their kids to the max and there's children cry. I've witnessed this, guys. So don't say, "Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about." I witnessed this. Children in the bathroom crying that they don't want to train because their parents are forcing them to and the parents are knocking on, "Get out of the bathroom. Go to training now." And they know
Yeah,
they have to compete in front of the other. It's disturbing almost, you know.
yeah,
So that's one reason that the kids get burned down and hate it. Another reason is cutting weight. I think a little kid cutting weight is child abuse. I think that's disturbing to me, honestly. Um, and then I think the third reason, girlfriends, especially girlfriends, instantly because it gives you more of a high than winning a tournament. You know, for me, it's like when I started dating, I was like, holy shit, this is way more of a high than winning worlds. So then it was like, so girls are bad at that age. They give you too much of a high,
yeah.
and more than winning a tournament. Like you're like, wait, the medal gives you this high, but like being in love gives you this high. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's like a girl, like, if she ain't right for you, especially if you're at a young age, you know, like, it could totally start steering you away from what you're trying to do, you know, like, or maybe you have an argument steering you away from, like, you're not
yeah,
thinking about your goal, you're not
yeah.
chasing your goal. And it's like
Yeah,
for
so
me,
basically, girls have cooties. Like when we were kids, that's what we said. Girls have cooties. Don't cut weight. Those are two things. Girls have cooties. Don't cut weight. The crazy jiu-jitsu parents, let your kids enjoy jiu-jitsu. Don't make it like miserable for them. They're freaking kids. You guys are crazy. Stop trying to live through your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Those are the
a,
three things to sum up what we just said.
I mean, those are three great things that'll take you far.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Kody, before we end? Like, so you're right now waiting for a fight, right? You're just waiting on standby. You're ready to go.
So yeah, yeah, just waiting, training, and adding new tools to the game. So next time
Do
I
you want to do
go,
any UFC BJJ fights in the meantime? Because again, you're like so high level, obviously in jiu-jitsu at the same time. Like, do you have any plans of doing both at the same time ever? Any cool super fights you want to do in UFC BJJ at the same time?
yeah, I would love to get like a UFC BJJ match.
I
I've
feel
had
like you
some.
should. Like, I don't know why you haven't yet. Like you live like it would be perfect, right? You're
I
so
know.
exciting. Like they would like your style is literally the best for UFC BJJ. My style is not. My style is lame and gay. But you have the style for this thing.
I know. I mean, that's why I've been telling them, like I've had a couple, some fun promotions hit me up, but like a part of me is like, if I compete, like I want to compete, with UFC BJJ just because like,
Yeah,
the boys are there. I freaking live 2 minutes from the Apex. Like
it's the
it just
best, right?
makes, yeah, it makes sense. And I
But even
think,
the rules at a UFC BJJ is better for you. Like it helps your MMA preparation, right? It keeps you in that same cycle of how they want you to attack. Like the style of it will still let you continue your MMA training.
yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, I definitely want to do them. I just want to like, I would like to, ideally in my world, I would like to have a match with like maybe another MMA person or someone like
Mhm.
that. That's like exciting because like what happens a lot of times is like I'll get on a show or someone's like, "Do you want to compete?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And they're like, "Oh, sick, dude, we're gonna get you a sick match." I'm like, "Cool, give it to me." And then they're like, "Boom, here's Mika Galvao. Boom, here's Tyler Tolo." And I'm like, "Boom, here's like Ronaldo Souza." It's like, yeah, like it's a great match, but it's like, and I still do it. Like I went against Ronaldo. I went against Ronaldo, the UFC BJJ champ, and I threw him on his head. But it was like, he's still a really tough guy. Like I have to be on my P's and Q's when you go with someone like that. I can't be
Yeah.
like a wild man like how I want to be. But if I get with like someone that's like an MMA guy or someone who's like good at jujitsu. He doesn't have to be the best, but like what they'll do is they try to just
No,
put
but
me against.
that's what's kind of interesting because when we're in UFC BJJ, people are always like, "Oh, I want you to fight this 1% of people, this 0.001% of people." But if we fight that 0.001% of people, it becomes a chess match. It becomes super calculated and doesn't become exciting for the fans. And
Yeah,
then it's a lose lose because now you're fighting the better, like the high level person. You have to play more strategic, so it's not exciting. Now everyone's mad at you after, even when you win.
yeah,
So I rather fight people that I could draw more MMA fans in, that we could do more exciting things where you could scrap and that could showcase your style of scrapping. So then when somebody watches, they'll be excited. Oh, this is cool. Like jiu-jitsu isn't gay. Like this is fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that you're one of the best people to show that and could convert MMA fans to actually watch our sport.
yeah. I feel like for sure, like I would say more than anything, my style is very fan friendly. It's just like if you put me against the guy who's
It's
like,
like max fan friendly, right? Like it's so exciting. You're slamming people on their heads. Fuck.
yeah, I'm like yelling at people. Like it's a fun thing. I mean, it's like I just would like a good matchup that would be a fun matchup because it's like
Yeah.
I'm not training jujitsu every day anymore. Like if I was training jujitsu every day, I would say yes to every single match because I'm like, this is what I trade for. But it's like I'm not training to be the best jujitsu guy in the world anymore. I'm trying to, go the other way. So it's like I'm training once a week, maybe jujitsu class, and then I'm competing against a guy who does jujitsu twice a day, every day.
Yeah.
It makes it, and then he's like really trying to beat me and make a name on me, and I'm trying to like put on a good show for people, and it's like
Yeah, so they're playing strategic and you're opening up just being exciting and then it's a hard it you can't that's what the problem is. But yeah, I would really like that. Claudia and Touchy, if you watch this, get Cody Steele an exciting fight. Like not like a staller or person that plays strategy. Give him someone that he could scrap with that like will be exciting. Like I think that everyone will enjoy that. I personally will enjoy that.
yeah, I think it would be great. I would love to put on a show for everyone too.
Yeah, I would love that. All right. Thank you so much, Kody, for coming on our podcast. Guys, did you see today that I'm not always interrupting him? There's always like a 4 or 5 second lag, and I get shit on from everyone because of the lag. I don't when I'm saying something, his comes out after. It isn't exactly the same time. And then when it comes live, Kody, everyone's like, what the Mikey? You're interrupting him. I'm like, guys, it wasn't that bad, I swear.
Yeah, it was the lag, dude. It was the lag.
No, okay, I do interrupt people a lot. It's something I work on, but I'm not as bad. Like, especially if you give me a lag and ADHD, that combo is really bad.
It's a dangerous combo, dude.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Kody. I'll see you tomorrow, probably at the gym.
Yes, I'll see you,
Later,
bro.
dude.